You read the title correctly. This deck doesn't have the letter E in it, asterisk. Of course, the main rules of this deck building challenge is that the card name and the legal card text can't have the letter E in it. Of course, we are ignoring card type name and flavor text easily because, Commander is around a legendary creature, so it has to be a creature, and creature has E's in it. So you just ignore that whole, card type and creature type line in the card because then there'd be no card and you can't do Commander. And flavor text doesn't legally exist, really. It's just, it doesn't have any effect on gameplay, so you can just kind of treat it like it's not there. You know what I mean? Just proxy it without any of the flavor text, and then you're golden. So our commander is Lady Orca. 7 mana for a 7/4 legendary creature, and that's basically it. So it's pretty cool. Something you're going to notice, obviously, like our commander, is that these cards cost a lot of mana, and then they don't do anything. It's kind of like the US military. Let me explain. We spend a lot of money on tanks and stuff like that in the 90s, but nowadays we have these things, nightmare planes, that are way scarier than tanks. Sort of how like now creatures have like death touch and a billion different things. These are the bombers, but we're playing with the tanks, okay? So anyway, let's talk about mana. We're going to need a lot of mana to cast these sort of overcosted spells these days. So Iron Mirror is 2 mana for a mirror that you can tap to add a red mana to your mana pool. Same thing with Alloy Mirror. Here's a 3 mana mirror where you can tap, add 1 mana of any color. You're going to be wondering, hey, where about the black mana mirror? Where he at? Well, homie had 2 E's in his name, so he's double out of here. Feels bad, man. Then we've got Palladium Mirror. 3 mana, tap, add 2 colorless. Look at him go. And we got Soul Ring. 1 mana, tap, add 2. Everybody knows Soul Ring, a classic. Then we got Sisay's Ring. 4 mana, tap, add 2 colorless. And Thran Dynamo. 4 mana, tap, add 3 colorless. Very cool. And we got Mannequin. 2 mana, construct, tap, add a colorless. Very nice. And Dark Ritual, the only instant in this entire deck. 1 black mana, add 3 black mana to your mana pool. Very cool, very nice. So now deck essentials, mana ramp, check. Check that off the list. Now, remember when I said you're going to notice that these cards cost a lot of mana and don't do anything? Well, there are actually 2 cards that do something. They actually do something. We got Bog Witch, 2 and a black for a human spell shaper, where you can pay a black, tap, and discard a card to add 3 black mana to your mana pool. Not too bad. And we got Rummaging Goblin, 2 and a red for a Goblin Rogue that says you can tap, discard a card to draw a card. So you just get to rummage a little bit. Not too bad. So deck essentials, value pieces, check. Check that off the list. And now, without further ado, the rest of the deck, because it's all pretty straightforward from here. Canal Monitor. Just kidding. It's Canal Monitor. 4 and a black for a creature lizard, 5/3. Not too bad. Catacomb Slug. I said it on purpose. 5 mana for a 2/6. Not too bad. Dackmore Bat. 2 mana for a 1/1 flying bat. Dusk Imp. 2 and a black for a 2/1 flying imp. Giant Cockroach. 3 and a black for an insect 4/2. Look at that art. Gnarly. Gloom Pangolin. 2 and a black for a Nightmare Pangolin. That's a 1/5. Homie's going to be a blocker for you. Jag Wasp Swarm. 3 and a black for a 3/2 insect with flying. Not too bad. Mass of Ghouls. 3 and 2 black for a zombie warrior. 5/3. Probably one of your attackers. Minotaur Abomination. 4 and 2 black for a 4/6 zombie Minotaur. Let him do whatever you want, attack or block. Moaning Spirit. 2 and a black, a 2/1 flying spirit. Cool. Python. 1 black for a 3/2 snake. That's it. Rotting Mastodon. 4 and a black for a zombie elephant. 2/8 blocker. Then we got Warpath Ghoul. 2 and a black for a 3/2 zombie. Look at him go. He's got that horse. That's cool. Witch's Familiar. 2 and a black for a 2/3 frog. And now moving into red cards. Balduvian Barbarians. 1 red, human barbarian, 3/2. Not too bad. Canyon Minotaur. 3 and a red Minotaur Warrior. 3/3. Crimson Kobolds and Crookshank Kobolds. You're going to notice these cards actually have text on them, except they actually don't. They have updated rules text. They are just 0/1s for 0 mana, but you can cut these from the deck if you think it's cheating because they haven't been reprinted with their actual rules text, whatever. Fomori Nomad. He's 4 and a red for a 4/4. Cool. Goblin Assailant. 1 and a red for a 2/2 Goblin Warrior from M20. Cool. Goblin Bully, just like in middle school, 1 and a red for a 2/1 Goblin. And Highland Giant, 2 and 2 red for a 3/4. Look at him go. He kind of looked like me on Saturday night looking for a Modelo. Hill Giant, 3 and a red for a 3/3. Hulking Cyclops, 3, 2 red for a Giant that says Hulking Cyclops can't block, and he's a 5/5. Same thing with Hulking Goblin, 1 and a red for a 2/2. Hulking Goblin can't block. Again, the updated rules text. There are versions of this card that are printed with the correct rules text. This one's just highest resolution. You know what I'm saying? Herloon Minotaur, 1 red for a 2/3 Minotaur. Lagak Lizard, Lagak, 3 and a red for a 3/3 Lizard. Look at him go. Lathnu Sailback, 4 and a red for a 5/4 Lizard. Lizard Warrior, 3 and a red for a 4/2. And Lowland Giant, 2, 2 red for a 4/3. Minotaur Warrior, 2 and a red for a 2/3. Obsidian Giant, 4 and a red for a 4/4. Orazka Raptor, 2 and 2 red for a 3/4. And Raging Bull, the weirdest looking card I've found, 2 and a red for a 2/2. Followed by Swab Goblin, which is what I call your mom, 1 and a red for a 2/2. And Tor Giant, 3 and a red for a 3/3. With Viashino, I don't know, I wasn't born then. Viashino Warrior, 3 and a red for a 4/2. Look at him there, he's got that little snake stuff going on. And Wild Jovel, 3 and a red for a 3/3. Now we're getting into the colorless, which is not a lot. Alpha Mir, 2 mana for a 2/1. Then we got Chartolin Dragon, 6 mana for a flying 4/4 dragon that kind of looks like Shrek when he was in the first movie, but also combined with the dragon. Anyway, deck essentials, now that we got that out of the way, blockers and attackers, you better believe they are Slavo Zizek off the list. So we also got 25 swamps, 25 mountains for a total of 100 cards. Very nice. Which brings me to the pros and cons of the deck. The cons being that you have 0 keywords like trample, death touch, hexproof, lifelink, etc. Only flying and on very few cards that fit. And of course, you're going to have 0 triggered abilities because whenever, at the beginning of, at the end of, all have E, so none of them are here. And of course, you're going to have 0 card draw. You're kind of just Yu-Gi-Oh style. Heart of the cards. My grandfather's no E deck has no pathetic cards, and just really hoping you draw something like land or whatever. Of course, the pros are that you have 0 triggered abilities. You're welcome. Who likes keeping track of all those triggers anyway? Exactly. It's less than $30 at the time of recording. I'm sure it's going to shoot up to hundreds of dollars after this. And of course, you're going to get swag points. These cards are rare. They're old. They're not printed anymore. So you're going to get those cool swag points from those old-timey art that people don't see all that often, which is why you're also not going to be a high priority target on the battlefield. Your opponents are running Tergrid, Atraxa, Progenitus, super scary stuff, and you're just running a little Lady Orca. Exactly. You're going to slip under their radar and win off of it because 3 hits with your commander, your opponent loses. Combat damage from all your basic bitch cards. Hey, I'm saying it. That's how it is. Let's be honest. They're basic cards, but that's part of the fun. And of course, your opponent's scooping is a win condition in of itself because you're going to physically, psychologically intimidate them with the way you play in the game. They can't handle the mental stress of playing with you. And so they're going to scoop it up. And that's a victory in my book. That brings us to the end of the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you subscribe, subscribe. If you thought, hey, here's how I would have built the deck, put that in the comments down below. If you didn't like how I built it, put that in the comments down below. And of course, if you want to, please check out the link in the description down below to support children in Palestine. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.